Hello fellow dungeon explorers, this is Ronald again. We are playing Dungeon Universalis. I have a video for you where we are looking for the actions you can do in your turn when you're playing. And this is a long list we have in Dungeon Universalis. This is the reference sheet of actions you can do. This is a high amount of actions. I think they are missing the quick actions. Yep, and they're not around here, as I can see. So I've printed a sheet of paper with all those actions, so I can hold it into the camera. Because I'm bad at video editing, I'm very lucky that I could cut something off the last video, or the almost last video. So we will see the sheet again, just a little preview. And we want to talk about actions, and as I've told you in a previous video, the very important thing is you can do an action before or after your movement. So we have Lanak here, a really cool small goblin, and he can decide, you can decide for him, if he activates to do an action, then follow it, let him move, and then that's it. You can, the variant is you can let him move and then do an action, whatever action, we will have a look at them. Yes, that's it. There are also quick actions, and because we are talking about the movement, I'm mentioning this now. You can, if you're doing a quick action, we'll have a look what quick actions are, but you can do a quick action while you're moving. So quick action as preview may be to drink a potion. You can do it right before movement, you can do it after your movement when you're here, or you can stop moving, drink a potion, and then continue your movement. But this is not possible for the full actions, the great actions, whatever, the actions, they are just called actions, and the other ones are quick actions. So, this as an intro, and the first action we want to have a look is the action running, because it's a great follow-up for the almost last video I've made about movement. So you can do the action running. Running is pretty simple. Let's see Larnok's character card right here. Oops. Larnok has a movement of 5. So if you will just make us move, he can move up to 5 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 back, 5. This would be his movement. I'm making a longer corridor for this to make a little bit more sense. So if you want to make more, if he wants to reach a great target at a greater distance, he may take the action running. And so running means he can move more than his normal movement points. He rolls the 2 dice, he makes a test. No, he doesn't make the test. I'm sorry, this is completely wrong. He just rolls 2 dice, 2d6, and he takes the greater one, which is a 2 in this case, and adds the greater one to his normal movement, up to the limit of the double value of his movement. So even if he had rolled a 6 and would add it, because a 6 is greater than 1, he wouldn't get an 11, because this would exceed his the double size, his twice movement points. So he would just receive 10 points. And then he can run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1 step back. Great, again 10. So that's the trick, and you cannot do this while running through the melee range of an enemy. We haven't talked about melee ranges, and we won't do it in this video. I just wanted to mention it, because maybe you've watched already the upcoming video before you're watching this, or you're watching this again, and blah 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 blah. I'm sorry, I'm digressing. And yeah, That's why I was mentioning this. So running is the first action, and after running you can't do another action because you only have one action per turn. One action, one quick action, and you can convert your full action into another quick action, so you can do 2 quick actions per turn, excuse me. Move is a little bit unprecise. So that was running. Running is great to reach targets far away, destinations far away, but you have further disadvantages when you're running. So if there's a trap, maybe on this, here's a lot of sweet blades, and these are on this field. No, you don't. When you're moving and the dark player wants to place a trap in this field, you don't know this beforehand. So you would play the card when you're running or when you're moving. So this is just to make clear that there should be a trap here. So if Polanak is moving with normal movement onto this field, 1, 2, 3, and the dark player decides to place those blades here, he has to activate the blade card, and the dark player has to activate it, has to pay it, and tell the player of Pro Larnak that there is a blade trap, and Larnak can do a perception test to avoid stepping into this blade. And we will have a look at blade, blade maybe also, but we have a look, a detailed. We will have a detailed look at traps in an upcoming video, so I want to make it short. He will have to do a perception test to avoid stepping into the trap. So if you're running, and that's the point where I'm telling this, if you're running into a trap, then you will get a penalty of 2 for your perception test, which is really bad. If you can remember, almost every character has a perception of 0 by default. So some heroes maybe just have a -1 or something when they're wearing armor and have no skill to raise their perception value, and so they already have a -1 if they are just moving, and they will have a -3 when they are stepping into this into the trap. And if you need a 10 to detect the trap, you can do the math on your own. So this would be a bad end for the guy who's stepping into the blades. So running should always be done with some kind of awareness, and you can really go into trouble. Okay, that was running. That was our first action. We don't, once again, this is the list. We have exploratory actions. We have a look what these are. We have some other actions running. We won't get into in details in all of these actions in this video, so don't be afraid that this video will take 60 minutes or something. I hope it won't. We only have a look at the most important one that I have chosen, that are the most important ones. Maybe there are others I will leave out, but this is my experience. And once again, I've forgotten to mention this as my default disclaimer at the beginning of the video. This video, as every time, is just meant as an addition for the rulebook. Please read the rulebook on your by yourself many times, like I did, and take these videos as an addition. And maybe I make mistakes, and yeah. So please always have a look at the rulebook. All right. In addition to the exploration arrows from the last small video, maybe you remember because you have watched it 10 minutes ago. These were exploration arrows. You can step onto them, looking in the same direction, then the new section will be revealed. This is no action, this is just a part of the movement. So, and then I did a little spoiler in that video. I said We also could have exploration with doors. This is a door. We have single-sized doors. We have two-sized doors. Put it here. And doors are always in between of two squares. They are not taking a square, whether this square or let's pretend there's a room. We not know because we haven't opened the door, but let's pretend for the demonstration. Something's wrong with the focus of the camera, I guess. Hello? I'm sorry. Ah, this is better, I guess. I hope this will stay. So the door is in between of these two squares and not taking one square. To be adjacent to a door is important because you have to be adjacent to a door to open it. There are only two fields or two squares in this case that are adjacent to this door. This is this square and this square. This isn't adjacent to the door, so you cannot open the door from there. So open the door. It's just an action. It's an exploratory action, and if there's no trap or no the door is not locked or something, then you just say, "Oh, I want to open the door." You will open the door, you can flip it, and in that moment the dark player has to reveal the new section, add it there. The section is open. He may spawn enemies there. The ADP can spawn enemies there. He always will try to, but this is another. This will be discussed in another video. And yeah, this is opening doors. Once you have opened a door, you can close it with a quick action. So you can, like I told before, you maybe when this is the moment Launak will start his activation. He says he wants to open the door. This is an action. Then he can do his movement because he can move right after his action. Then he can step in and then close the door after him and then continue his movement because closing the door is a quick action, and a quick action can be done in the middle of movement. And reopening the door, open a door to a section that was already explored, is also a quick action. So only when you are exploring a new section, this is a real action. So the dark player can lock doors. There's a lock door card. You can lock it in several ways. It's an obstacle card, so the ADP can do it in the same way when you're the character wants to open the door. And yeah, what happens if the door is locked? The heroes can try to open it stealthily, like written here. They have to succeed in a dexterity test, and they have only one try to do this for the whole party, for the whole quest. So if you're letting do this the poor guy with dexterity -1, and he will fail in a very it's pretty sure that he will fail, that's what I wanted to say. But the high probability, that's what I wanted to say. And I seek the words. So, so it's always a better idea to let this do an explorer, hero, scout, or whatever you have with a skilled dexterity to do this, because he has to roll a 10, or he has to make a roll and add his dexterity to, and then you have to reach 10, and then the door will become open stealthily. If this won't work on the first try, as I've mentioned, and after spending fortune points maybe, but you have only one try to do this, the door will be locked for the rest of the quest. Nobody else could try it. The only option you have then is to break into the room by destroying the door. So it's written on the card also. The door acts as a character you can attack. It has a vitality of 5 and it has an armor of 5. If you haven't played before, this won't tell you really. This won't help you in understanding what this means. We have a look in the dedicated video about combat the next days. So for the moment, you already have to you only have to know that the door can be attacked like an enemy, and after losing all of its health points, its vitality, it will be burst open, and you can enter the room then. But doing this, always breaking into a room, if you're breaking the door, the enemies that may spawn in that room you have where you have broken the door will get a plus to their initiative for every round you need, for every turn, round, whatever, you need to break the door. So if there are 2 heroes here, you can, an opposite of opening a door, which is just possible from an adjacent field, like I told you, you can break the door from a diagonally field. So you can be here and try to break it. And here, so 2 heroes could try to break the door, and if they take, if it takes long, they are taking 2 or 3 activations, so turns. The enemies in the room will get a +2 or 3, how long it will take, to the initiative roll, and this could be a really bad problem for the guy who's then standing in front of the door. Because if they lose, the enemies will all come to the door and try to beat the little guy to death. So, there are some variants of this locked door. There's also a card called Reinforced Door, working almost the same, but with better stats. You need you have to roll a better perception and dexterity to open it, and that has improved stats. It will have a vitality of 6 and armor of 6, so that is really heavy to open. Heavy or hard was the correct term, I don't know. Hard to open. So and another variant, there will be doors locked with riddles, where you need intelligence to open it. It's thematically it's sealed by a magic seal, and some intelligent guy has to open this seal. So you need intelligence instead of dexterity to open it. All right. That was opening doors, unexplored, explored door, doors to unexplored areas, doors to explored areas. We had locked doors. We have another related thing called chests. So here's a chest. This is a closed one. This is an open one, and it's related because if it's here, the chest never blocks line of sight, it never blocks movement, you can just walk over it, and you can't open it, and if you open it you will get a treasure card, which is could be a really decent treasure, item, gold for your party. So always open these chests, but they are always locked. There aren't any just closed chests, they are always locked, and you have to break them, and this works in the same way as breaking doors. So you have to attack them, and yeah, they also have normal chests. Also have an armor of 5 and a vitality of 5. And there's a card the dark player can play called Armored Chest, which is an equivalent to the Reinforced Door, which has better stats and is harder to open. So what I forgot to mention, when you are breaking a door, you can't only do this with melee attacks. You cannot do this, you know, with this little bow. So if you ever have shooting a bow, then you will know it's pretty hard to open, to imagine that you can break a door with shooting some small projectile arrows at them. The same is for magic projectiles. You cannot open it with magic. And the only exception is when you have ranged weapons with the attribute detonation. Those can be used to open it, but there are only minor weapons having this attribute, as far as I know. So that's it. I've forgotten that. I'm so sorry. And then the chest can be coming back with the chest. The chest can be broken, so you will get the treasure or will be happy. I won't spoil you with a treasure card. There are a bunch of treasure cards with coins, with items, and you will get one when you are doing this, when you have opened this. So, okay, that was opening chests, and the next one is on my list is searching secret doors. If you're in a room and you're suspicious if there may be another room adjacent to it, or another section, could be corridor too, where a secret door leads to, you can search for secret doors. So you have to do a test. Just look in the rulebook on your own. We have to do. You have to do a perception test. You can do it over and over again if you fail on the first time. Every hero can do it. And then the dark player has to reveal if there are secret doors. The secret doors are excuse me. These kinds. This is an open one. This is a locked one, and a closed one. Sorry. Let's place it here. Same as with the doors. It doesn't take a square. It's in between of two squares. You can move adjacent. It will work like a door. The dark player. Sorry again. Dark player can place traps on it. Can lock it. And if you won't, or if you've removed the trap or whatever, you can open it like a door, and it will be open. Then the dark player has to reveal what's behind, add the new section, can spawn enemies, and everything like with normal doors, except that you have to search for them if they are there. And there's no hint beforehand that there is a secret door, so you have to trust your senses, or you just have to try it. Okay, that's searching for secret doors. Then you can do searching the room. You can do it to find gold coins, or if you're very lucky, to find items, or maybe a treasure card, I guess. Oh, sorry again. You can searching rooms. You cannot combine this action with movement, so you otherwise with the other actions you cannot move before or after that, because the thematic is you're walking around the room to search everything for some coins or treasures, and this can only be done once, because you have to roll a die what you will find, and this can you will find something on the first try, and that's it. And yes, that's it. Another one is searching or interacting with elements. Elements could be special elements and furniture. And what's going on with these terms? Let's have a look. This room. Let's place some cool stuff in it. We have a desk, I guess, with magical items or something. We have a cupboard. Let's place it here. We have a magic fountain or something. Let's place it here. We have some classic one. We have some barrels and boxes right here. So Lana comes into this room through the secret door we can't see, and now he can search the furniture or search the or interact with a special element. The magic phone is a special element. These are furniture. I'll show another special element after this. So let's start with the furniture. It's a sorcery table, and I don't want to spoil really and go in detail, so you just have to roll a die and whatever, or 2 die or whatever. It can have bad outcomes, like the dark player gets something. You can find nothing. You can find a random potion, whatever. So don't do so many spoilers, Ronald. Thank you for it. You can interact with a cupboard. It's almost the same. You have to roll 2d6 and do what you find here. Same with the barrel and boxes, so I'm sure you get the trick about this. So even there may be some furniture. This is printed on the board, like this fireplace, and it has its own card, so you can interact with it. And we have here a special item, a special element, excuse me. Fountain or magic pound, so you can roll a die. If this is poisoned water, then you're taking damage, or maybe you can recover vitality by drinking from it. So you can move next to it, roll the die, and see what happens. Like you may also think this can only be done once, because if Lanak drinks from the water and it's healing him, the next one drinking from it shouldn't be poisoned. So you have to just reveal once his function, and then it's for the rest of the quest the same. So yeah, that's for the moment. And another kind of special element can be clean this up here. You have this tile, for example. It's just like a normal section, like a normal corridor. Maybe our poor small Lana goblin is coming around the corner, and what's that? Everything's covered in spider webs. Spider webs may affect, or this kind of special element may cover the whole section. You also have to do what is printed on the card. Here maybe some enemies come up to you and just follow what's here. So there are some icons on the special element cards. Maybe you've seen it on the fountain already. I don't want to go in detail. You can read in the rulebook. This means this magic fountain gives you heavy cover if you're standing behind it. This is the size, which is for line of sight. You have to touch it to interact with it, and in the opposite, there's no touch icon here. This means the whole section is already the special element is activated when you are entering the section. You don't have to interact with it directly. So this means no enemies may be spawned in here in this section, because this is often when there are already enemies spawning because of the kind of the section, the special element. So these are furniture and special elements, and they are very. I'll show you the deck. There's a lot of stuff coming with Dungeon Universalis. These are the furniture cards. These are the special elements. There's a lot of special elements, and I won't show you anything else because you have to do it on your own. Alright, we're almost done with exploratory actions. The last one on my list, I'll show it once again, is searching corpses. Once the fight is over, here's our room again. Here's Lanak triumphing over these dead guys. I am the bravest goblin in the world. I have beaten down these guys, and now I'm looting their corpses. So he can do so when the combat is over. You can start looting these corpses. The rulebook, in my opinion, the rulebook in English isn't really precise with this point. The original, I'll recite this. One moment, searching for corpses. Where is it? As soon as a combat is over, a character can devote an action to searching the corpses of dead enemies or allies in order to take their belongings. And so on and so on. I've heard the opinions of other guys saying that this is meant you have to do it in the turn after the combat is over, and after that you cannot do it anymore because the gold and the weapons and stuff is disappearing magically from the corpses. No, that's not, they didn't say that, but they say it must be done in the turn right after the combat is over. So you can't come back later to loot the corpses, which is, in my opinion, thematically a problem, because why should the stuff disappear? But I suggest to play it like I've heard it, because many guys told me that it has to be done in the turn after that. So deal with it. Maybe you'll find out that it's not so, and then I'll let you know in the comments. Alright, we have done these exploratory actions, and we head over here to the rest. We have already done running, yoo-hoo! And there are some other, and I don't want to tell you all of them, just because melee ranged casting spells, there will dedicated videos for them, so yep, already done. This one is a really quick one, other attribute test. The quest can give you some tests you have to do, and it will always tell you that you have to do that you have to spend an action for that. This is meant with this. Moving furniture is as easy as it says. With the sorcery table, I can do an action in my turn to move it. If it's larger than me, than my height, then I have to do a strength test, or it's the same height or higher, then I have to do a strength test. Just look into the rulebook. I didn't use it very often until now. To be honest, I have never used it, but that maybe is not speaking for my strategy. Activating a source of light. There may be some sections covered in darkness, and where you get some penalties for shooting and for combat and other attributes. So you can prevent this by having a source of light like a torch, or maybe you have a spellcaster with a staff, or he can light or something else. And there are two levels of darkness. There's darkness and there's total darkness or complete darkness. The term is changing from cards to rulebook and back again, and whatever, but I think you get it. Darkness and really, really dark darkness. And this can be you can fight against it with activating a source of light. That's it. Details are in the rulebook. Identifying magic, power and potions. I'll make a check after this. That's an easy one too. So in any other dungeon crawler you should have played, you have found potions lying on a shelf, on a dusty shelf, and you go there, grab it. There's a label on it saying, hey, this is a healing potion, just drink me, please drink me now, and you're drinking it and you're healed. That's it. This is why every sorcerer will ever label his potion, and you would never do poison in it to trap the bad heroes. So yeah, Dungeon Universalis is going a more realistic way. So yes, you can find random potions in a dungeon, like in every other dungeon crawler, but you don't know what you're getting. You have to identify it. So identifying is rolling a die, and then it will tell you what's the meaning of the potion. If you haven't done this, you cannot use the potion. You shouldn't use because you could have get poisoned. So this is identifying potions and magic weapons. You can find magic weapons. You cannot use them until you have found out what their magic is about. So you have to identify it. This is the action. More details, please see in the rulebook. And this is really going fast. I'm impressed by myself. Detecting and avoiding traps. We will make a dedicated video about it. So we have putting armor on and off is also an easy action. So you can put your armor off or put your armor on again. You can do this because you have a section covered with deep water or something. Then swimming is a kind of movement I've left out from the movement video because it doesn't happen so often. So it's easier to swim without a breastplate or full armor, as you can imagine, and so it's maybe it's a good idea. I haven't had deep water until now. To put your armor off before entering it, and yeah, that's an action for it. Climbing out of pits and great jumps is related to each other. There may be pitfalls where you can fall into, and to avoid this you can do a jump over it, and you can do great jump if the pits are larger than if they are taking 2 sizes in width. So Larnak has to woo over that, and these are great jumps. And climbing out of pits is when you have fallen into a pitfall, then you have to climb out of it. And there are rules for it because other heroes can help you climbing out. There can be an enemy adjacent to it, and then you have a penalty. You can use a rope, if I remember it correctly, and yeah, this are these. So, breaking doors and chests we have also talked about. Let's see that list again, because I've written a large exploratory above this. This has a reason, and an important reason. So if you are in a combat, there are enemies around you within 12 squares or something, you cannot do any of these actions that are categorized as exploratory. You cannot, there's one exception, there's always this one exception in Dungeon Universalis. For the moment, you cannot do any of these. You cannot open chests, you cannot solve riddles, you cannot search for secret doors, which is pretty logically to not search for secret doors while the other ones are fighting in the same room, or searching the room, or searching corpses. But there is the exception. You can open doors to unexplored areas if the door is not locked. If the door is locked, you can use breaking doors as an action, because breaking doors is not an exploratory action. So, let's sum this up. You can do open in a combat. We are in a combat now. You can do you can do an action to open a door to an unexplored area to discover it. You can break a door to open it to discover an unexplored section. You cannot try to open the door stealthy by the dexterity, because this is an exploratory, like solving riddles also. This is would be an exploratory action you cannot do. The only one you can do is opening doors to unexplored sections. Yeah, this is the only one. And you can do breaking doors because it's not an exploratory action. So you can do all of these in combat. That's what I'm trying to say here. not in combat, you can do in combat too. Which is pretty logical because melee attacks should be done in combat and range attacks and casting capture. Whatever. You can do running, you can put your armor on off, so you can search a corpse, but you can put your armor off in the combat. Okay, maybe must be a nice combat. Okay, that's it. Those are the actions. But there's a little bit more, but we are almost done now for now. You can do when we are talking about exploratory actions, I can mention this. Remembering this pretty guy, my decent 2 bandit. He was a mercenary in the example when we were talking about exploration, and a mercenary or a pet, maybe a dire wolf we have as a companion with us. Those can't do exploration with exploratory arrows, we have talked about that, and they cannot do any of these exploratory actions. Not one, even not opening doors to unexplored. They can do nothing of this, they can do all these, none of these. No pet, no mercenary. So, another one important is we haven't talked about melee or combat at all, and we won't do it now, but because it's affecting actions. Here's Larnak. Here's the pretty red-headed barbarian princess I fell in love with, and when he's in melee range of her or of any other enemy, melee combat is, to take this now, to explain this now, are always the squares around the figure. Maybe you have long-range weapons, and then you have long range, and we will talk about later. But for the moment, let's say these markers around her isn't her health status, because that would be really unhealthy. So they are marking the melee range of the wonderful barbarian princess. So if Larnak is standing in her melee range, he cannot do any action. Not one. Not one of these, but because there, as I told you, there's always this one exception in Dungeon Universalis. You can do for sure, of course, you can do melee attacks. You cannot do ranged. You cannot cast spells. I say this with aloud now, and I will do later. You cannot cast any spells in melee range if the spell isn't saying otherwise, and there are, as I've seen, there's only one spell stating this on the card. So you can't cast spells in melee range. Another big reason to let your sorcerer in the last row of your party, and to have them stay there, and for the hybrid classes like battle wizards, it's a problem because they are going into the melee, because they are fighters, and they can't cast any spell from there. You can do range attacks, okay, and the only action you can do while you are standing in melee range of an enemy is melee attacks. And this leads me to the quick actions we haven't talked about in detail yet. There aren't so many quick actions. I've written them here in my notes. Quick actions may be giving an item to another character. That means you can give a potion to another character, or you can give a weapon to another character, and he may not use it if you have already used it in your turn. So you cannot drinking a potion is a bad example because it's empty after you've drinking it. But let's say you have a torch. No, a torch. What's a good example? you have a weapon. You can. Okay, following the text in the rulebook, it would mean you cannot use a weapon as a melee action, a sword. Use it, then give it to another character. What would be allowed because it's a quick action, as we can see here. Then he has it, and he can't use it in the same turn. This makes no sense to me. Okay, but we follow what's written in the rulebook. The new hero, the new owner may not use it in the same turn. So you can pick up or leave an item. So if someone has lost his healing potion on a square, you can come and pick it up. You have to move through the same square or to an adjacent square to pick it up. And you can activate a lever as a quick action. You can opening or closing a door. We have talked about. You can equip an item, so you can change your weapon. Maybe Larnak. My Larnak that I'm playing has a short bow and has this scimitar, and he can change it. He will get a penalty for his combat if you do so in the same turn, but he can use it. You can make it as a quick action. And there's something in the back. Drinking a potion is a quick action, and this means you can do the very great move. You can keep this for your strategy. There's something called heroic potion. Maybe I've got one here. Yep, here's a heroic potion. This gives you one further action in your turn, so you can do 2 actions, which may not be casting spells. There's always this one exception in Dungeon you wanna. Yeah, okay. So. According to this, we are ignoring melee range for the moment because there's a situation where you can ignore, or you pretend Larnak has made a disengagement test and succeeded. Just think it's okay, we do this. So Larnak is attacking her, then he cannot drink a potion where he's standing because he's in melee range. Whether a quick action nor a full action can be used in melee range. We have talked about a few minutes ago. So he cannot drink the potion where he's standing. So he's attacking her, then he's moving one step back. As his movement, he's drinking the potion there, the heroic potion, and he's going back to the front with another movement. He has 5 movement points, and he can do another attack for her. Great idea. Works like a charm in practice. When you can move away from the out of the enemy's melee range. Yep. So I think we're done for now. What's on my notes? We have had exploration during combat. No, we haven't talked about exploration during combat. No, we haven't. I'm confused. I'm sorry. We have had actions and quick action within melee range. We have had mercenaries, pets may not do any exploratory actions. This is also for enemies. The dark player may not open new areas with when he cannot use an action to open a door with one of his characters, or he cannot move onto exploratory exploration arrows to explore a new area to spawn new enemies there. It's not allowed. There's one skill allowing this. It's called, I guess it's called Watchman, which is dedicated for this, so an enemy can have this and then he can do exploratory actions. But this is a very rare exception, like the other exceptions we haven't done. So yeah, we have critical failures during exploration. This is a preview. We haven't talked about the achievement points. There's a dedicated scoreboard just to make a preview. The main concept in Dungeon Universalis is that there's a combat between the party of the heroes and the dark player. They are battling against with their scores. The dark player has opportunities to score, to go on the scoreboard. The heroes can get a point for every slain enemy of different levels with different rewards. If they cast a spell, if they find a secret door, they will get a reward in form of a point. And the dark player will always get a point at the beginning of each of his turns, and he will have a hero knocked out. And why I'm telling this, but if you ever fail in an exploratory action with a blunder, so with a double with a double 1, it's a critical failure, then he will get another point for this because he was so dumb in it. He has rewarded with it. So, alright, for the recap, we've talked about actions, exploratory and non-exploratory actions. We've talked about quick actions. None of these can be done in melee range except melee attacks. And equipping an item can be done in melee range, so you can change your weapon in melee range. I'm not sure if I've told you that before. Yes, but that's it. Now we are at 50 minutes, not 60. I'm happy we are done for this evening. I hope you enjoyed it. And the hint I should give you beforehand in the next videos, try to increase the playing speed of the video to 1.5 or 1.75, because then I'm talking a little bit faster and you can save some time. Yes, I think that's it for the moment. The next video should be about an overview about your equipment, where we have common items and special items. We have weapons, armor, magic items, relics. This shouldn't be a very long video. And after that we are going into combat. The general combat rules like initiative, caught by surprise, line of sight, front and back of a character. The melee range we have talked a bit, and engaging and disengaging with an enemy, and attacking from behind, multiple, everything we will have a little bit faster but more with more visual help than the rulebook. And after that we are going into melee. We have a dedicated video for range attacks, for magic, and for damage. Please leave me comments as always, and put your thumbs up and down for rating the video, so I have an idea of what you're thinking about it. If there are too many thumbs down, I think we won't get to the damage video. But yeah, I think I'm on a good way, and I really enjoy if I can help you with Dungeon Universalis, so we will get a greater community. There will be the reprint in October 2020, the Kickstarter for the reprint. We hope there will it be. And yes, I say thank you for watching this video, and wish you all a good evening or a good day whenever you are watching this. So see you again next time. Bye.